Testing, testing. Good morning, everybody. How you doing? It's 6 minutes until daily candle close, and we get the new daily. Strings, what's up? Doing very well, thank you. LK, Crypto Sleeper, Doge Moon, Keith Hefner, Patrick, or Pratik, sorry, Prime and Buddy. How you doing? So we've had a bit of a retest of that 20k level. Hey Sean, we've come down and we're seeing if we can maintain 20k. Let's see if that will be the case or whether we'll dive deeper into the teens, which is what I'm hoping for, as I'm sure all of you are too. So only 4.5 minutes to go here. Oh, Vinny Gobby Gugara Gots 2 times. What's happening, dude? I'm doing well, Tuggy Pepper. Vinny Gobby Gugara. Vinny Gobba Googity Gots. Were you the fella that had the name "Show Me Where Rick touched you in Pisket VR" or something like that? Was that you? NS, how you doing? Yeah, the good old Adam and Eve candle pattern. So we got a drop, we got an Adam here, and then an Eve like that. with the neckline being 20k, basically. I'm going to see if I can find an example of that. Adam and Eve chart pattern. Yeah, I saw Luna Classic pumping. Pretty crazy, hey? So we've got ourselves an inverse Adam and Eve. So if I just bring up a chart that has that as an example. Well, let's check. All these examples are... here we go. Found it. I need to open image in new tab. So that is what is implied. So we've got the 20k support line, the 22k resistance at the top. We've hit B over here. We've come down and found support at A, which is 20k. Then we've eaved, just like this. And now we're waiting for the breakout. So the break below 20k and then the back test, the retest of that 20k, and then rejection, hopefully, so that we can travel lower and get cheaper prices for accumulation. So we'll see how that goes. I'll look at some of the alts. Doge is actually up for the day. It's 5% up from today's candle, which has a minute and a half left. It took a pretty decent dip the previous 2 days, coming down off that high, 18%, 18.46%. So see if we can recover some of that downturn there on Doge. Trying to head back to 8 cents, but not quite sure it's going to get there, but we'll see what happens. So a lot of people have been calling out Ape. Well, this Ape coin, let me find that. It might be in my other watch list here. Ape USDT. Okay, so that is in support discovery. It tried to establish support here at $6, but it lost that support and it's headed down. $2.80 is like the $3 rather is the current support, and now it's just trying to maintain a future level of support, if not make higher lows. That's the first sign of any kind of, rally going up. But yeah, I mean, I have no idea what ApeCoin's all about, but if you're into it, go for it. It can certainly move, that's for sure. It sort of came out in a bear market, so it hasn't really had a chance to do much. So keep an eye on it, though. Keep an eye on things and see if it is one of the big players in the next cycle. So we're 30 seconds into the new daily candle. Let's see how yesterday's candle closed. It closed above 20k, that's okay. And so far today's candle, 30 seconds in, or 1 minute in. See what the theme is for today. Phantom? Yeah, Phantom's pretty cool. It did well last year in the bull market. FTM. It is retraced beautifully back into this accumulation zone that it was in last year. So if it can go further down back to this, look how long that accumulation is there. But to put it in context, you just got to bring the chart back like this so you can see. So if you like, I mean, not that they're the same coin or the same fundamentally, but Ape is going through this at the moment where it's trying to find its support range. Phantom found its support at about 0.2 of 1 cent, so 0.002. And from there, it just built value over time. Phantom, what a coin to get into, eh? Because that thing moved pretty amazing. If I turn the log scale on, that's incredible. 190,000%. Wow. So can it get back to those same highs from the all-time high last year? That's the big question for all of the alts, really. Can they get back to the top? So with Bitcoin back here, we'll go back to, say, the 15-minute chart. We've got a momentum wave certainly dipping, but there could be a swing. There could be like a buy signal that prints, at least for short term, off this wave. And we may see a little bit more of a climb to come, but I'm just going to check the higher time frames and see what they're suggesting. So it's still playing out the downswing on the hourly chart. The 4-hour, though, the 4-hour suggests that, you know, buys around 20k were a good move. So we'll see if that eventuates into anything. But yeah, early days in the daily candle. Yeah, Aaron, I see that this is definitely a bear market. However, the bears know they are bleeding too hard. Expect a powerful move upward. Well, I'm here for it. If it moves powerfully up, then bring it on. But I'm still a bear at this stage. I'm not convinced that we're going to go up explosive anytime soon, unless there's some kind of catalyst, like a black swan event. But I feel like we're going to go through a phase, like I've said in the previous streams, similar to this, where it's just sideways chop at the big round number level. So we've already gone through part of it. Like if I'm to duplicate this, bring it over to 20k, we've already sort of spent half the time inside this this range, this ranging box here, this bounding box. So I'm all for it. If it happens, awesome. If we break up and head to new highs, then that's going to be great. But we'll see how it goes. Go back to the daily here for Bitcoin. So this momentum wave didn't catapult it enough to bring it up back into a positive momentum, like, you know, getting a wave like this. That will be what signals, you know, a change in theme or direction for the market. Something where you get a wave popping up over the equilibrium here. But for now, we've just had a red momentum shift here. As of 3 or 4 days ago, there was a shift in momentum. So this, to me, it just spells like a bit like a dead cat bounce type scenario. Yeah, let's just see how it plays out. I'd love some further dips below 20 so that I can buy more. That's the plan. So while that's tracking there, let's go back to Dogecoin. Go to the hourly. Just checking the oscillators here. See, the bounce that Doge had was enough to give positive momentum on the upswing here, create that push to 8 cents, but didn't quite make it. But it had a bit of a more violent bounce compared to that of Bitcoin's. Hey, D Johnny 55, how you doing, mate? I'd love to hold 1 Bitcoin, maybe a couple of Ethereum, a bunch of Solana, and then just various altcoins of what I can afford. But yeah, that'd be a nice sort of portfolio to hold into the next bull market for sure. Not that I'm going to be able to buy 1 Bitcoin. It'd be nice. Person can dream. I think there's further room to come down. Definitely. So I'm just checking the RSI as well on the other time frames here. Everything is confluent. There's no divergence at this stage. So I would say there's no suggestion of, movement up from here. I think that there is further room to move down, but this 4-hour cipher momentum wave here is suggesting that we may see a swing up. However, look, during a bear market, look what happens to those momentum waves. They shift and change quite frequently. Like, you've got signals to buy, and then not too long after you sell it. Buy and sell, because it's dealing with a market that's selling off. So there's no real strength. There's no buyers on at these levels to support the weight of selling as prices fall. All right, I'll be right back. 2 minutes. Bear with me. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. Thank you for hanging in there. So, Bitcoin going to 12,000, hey? Yeah, that would be awesome. Very nice if it went down that low. Now, I'm just going to go back to this chart here, this liquid index for Bitcoin, and check the log scale. It's very hard to say, like, whether we're going to get a dramatic push down from here, because I really think that demand at 20k is fairly strong. So I think we're just going to maintain this range, to be honest. It'd take someone with a hell of a lot of Bitcoin to sell through and push it through 18k, 17k, you know? You'd be silly to sell it. I mean, why would you sell through 20k? Like, it just doesn't make any sense. But strange things can happen. If you create enough fear in the market, if there's someone that wants to trigger liquidations that has a hell of a lot of Bitcoin to do it, then potentially that'll drive the prices down. Just have to see how this $20,000 level behaves. I've certainly got money ready for any further dips. Gotta have your chips for the dips. So off the high, from high to bottom, for what you're saying there, Tuggy, 85% is a typical dip or typical bear market from top to bottom. I'm just gonna measure out the distance for that. What an 85% drop means in price. I think it's like 13,000 or something like that. Oh, it's less, it's 10,000. There you go. Yeah, it's about 10,300. So with that in mind, we've got about another 10,000 to drop. Something like that. If we're going to get that 85% sell off. So if we found ourselves ever at, let's say, just 100k even, like for the top of the next bull cycle, I'm sure it'll be higher, but, well, I'm not sure, but it's probably going to be higher, but let's just say it is, to be conservative. If we get an 85% drop from 100k, where does that put us? About 14,000. 14,800. So, yeah. I guess the higher the price climbs, 85% means similar prices depending where you're falling from. Like, so, falling from 20k though, 85%, that went down a lot more dramatic in price. Just the nature of percentages and the way they work. It's like an 84% drop. Went down to 3k. So I feel like a lot of the things that we've covered that I've covered in the previous, 10 streams is all I have to really say, like repeat. So I'm just pretty much repeating myself with these. But it's good to see, at least today with new information, we've got the all of the test of 20k happening again right now. It was used as a bounce position right here, but I think this retest now, this testing, I feel like we're going to come down again. It's just my hunch, but and based off technical analysis, I think with this whole Adam and Eve, this inverse Adam and Eve shape. I think once we finally break this 20k neckline, maybe we come down, get the retest and get rejected at 20 and then move down further. But that's one scenario. And it's going to take a little bit of time to play out, but otherwise, yeah, it's going to be something like this. See how at the 30k, when we broke 30k for the first time, the deepest dive below 30 was here at the start. That could be the same with this. This could be our deepest dive. That initial violent push down causes the most significant drop. And then every other drop after that isn't as violent because it's not falling from such a height. So if we, wrong tool, if we get this and just imitate that on the chart with the pen tool here, maybe that is something that we get similar over here. Like this, see? That could be on the cards too. We've kind of had that already. We've had similar kind of behavior here. But remember, past performance is not a reliable indicator of future performance. So, but it can, knowing how markets behave, that can happen again. It can be similar. There was something like that at 40k. If we go back to when it first hit 40, yeah, over here, it dipped well down. And then, this is back when the liquidity in the markets was a lot higher. So the traded volume rather. So the volatility was a lot bigger. So you were, each day was trading larger amounts. And then I think the thing that signals that we're in a bear market is the reduction in volume or like in price difference. So the range here was quite big. And then the range here was smaller, and then now we're getting potentially a flat range that goes through here. Yeah, like it's going to get kind of frustrating, I think, because we'll come close to 20, then we'll pick up again, and then we'll get rejected and come back down and tease, and it'll just be like that. That's what I feel. I feel like that's going to be the next month of trading of Bitcoin's price, just boring sideways at 20k. So yeah, I think it's a bit of both there, Tuggy. It's both accumulation and like low volume. Like the thing is that the whales aren't going to accumulate everything that they can in one spot, because they'll cause something called slippage, and that drives the price violently in one direction. So rather than doing it all at once and slipping the value, they just do it a little bit at a time, you know? It's just every now and then, like they'll put in these buys so as not to like create like a wave, you know what I mean? It keeps the prices low. It keeps the prices, they just have to do it over time. Yeah. So it's kind of like, just trying to think of an analogy, like filling up a glass of water. You don't want to dump the water in all at once, because it'll skip back up and splash out. You just want to gently do it so it fills up, you know, calm and even, so as not to like create turbulence. So this calm, flat, even action is what accumulation zones look like. It just go back to the daily chart. This is all a zone of accumulation. It seems to be low volume, but it's just they're taking their time. Let's say you had $1 billion, or okay, let's use $1 million. If you bought $1 million worth of Bitcoin in one day, just as an example, that might slip the price up because there's not enough orders on the book to meet the price. Like you can't buy $1 million worth of Bitcoin at 30K, for example, because there's not $1 million worth being sold at that level. So what you have to do is disperse your buys, say 100K at a time. 100K here. And then that way the accumulation, it kind of happens under the radar. And that's why these crypto winters take so long to play out, is because they want to buy it at a set price. These whales, these market manipulators. You can see the length of this zone here. It's a combination. It's both the retail not looking at the market at that time. You know, there's no interest, and that's for good reason. It's just these people with lots of money, they're playing a game of patience and just slowly accumulating over time, buying it up, buying it up, buying it up. You know, they got all the time in the world. So it's when they've basically filled up and they're happy with what they've got, is when they stop manipulating it down. And then, you know, maybe they cause a catalyst, like where they buy a whole bunch at once to spark something. Another catalyst that I've identified, or that people have identified, and that I've talked about on the stream is these halving events. So this is an inbuilt sort of function of Bitcoin, is every 4 years the block reward that miners get is halved. So therefore making Bitcoin more scarce and hard to come by, so it's more valuable inherently. And this happens every 4 years. So soon mining's going to be like impossible to do. Like, not impossible, but very hard. It's going to be up to you know, I feel like there's going to be a point where Bitcoin isn't mined anymore. Like, you know, there's going to be other cryptos that are just more viable to mine compared to Bitcoin. So it'll be left to the big, you know, crazy mining operations that are like these multi-million-dollar mining operations to continue the proof of work. But yeah, it's interesting. I don't know, like I'm not 100% sure on how how it works. Like when the demand goes up, more people are transacting Bitcoin, but the mining power behind it isn't what it was at some point, potentially. I don't know. Maybe someone can explain that better than me, but I'm sure there are people that, of course, can explain that better. But yeah. Anyway, let's go back to Bitcoin here. Go back to the 15-minute chart. It's kind of like watching paint dry. There seems to be a lot of support. Each bounce here, people happy to buy it. Bitcoin at, you know, anything under $20,000. It's just like a psychological level that people are happy to pay for Bitcoin at. But yeah, I don't know. There could be something that happens where the support walls that are up get sold through, and it just punches down and creates like a cascading, like a stop hunt or a liquidation hunt. It seems to be what happened back here. I'm not totally sure. Like, it feels like, yeah, there was this low here and then an attempt at some kind of recovery, but that failed. And then we just cascaded down. But yes, things seem quite stable at the moment. Things are stable. Corrosive, yes. Trading strategies. Okay, so if you're a swing trader, like long term, there's a strategy that I came across on a YouTube video once. Let me find it. If I open up the MACD, which is the moving average convergence divergence, the MACD, the good old MACD. If you go to the weekly chart and you're waiting for the MACD to cross the signal line. So the blue line has to cross above the orange line as your green light. So you're not buying yet. You're basically waiting. And this is not a dollar cost average scenario. This strategy, this is an all-in strategy. Like if you're opening a big position at one point, you're waiting for the blue line to cross up over the orange line. It happened here. So if I just mark this up here, now there's a part 2 of this strategy, so just bear with me. If I mark it there, now the part 2 is you open your position on the daily chart. So the weekly is just your green light to look for an opening. So then you have to go to the daily and figure out, okay, the weekly flip. Let me just go back here. It happened actually here. So if I move this back a step, basically between these 2 weeks was the flip. So we'll try and figure out which day. Okay, so we know that between these 2 lines, the flip happened. So the entry, you're waiting for a signal on the daily chart for where the orange flips above the blue. And it was in one prior, but you don't take that as a signal. You have to wait till the one that happens after the weekly. So this is no, that means it's going down where the blue crosses below the orange. So there was no signal. There was no, or there might have been almost one here, but at that time, I think you got a red light from the weekly on the MACD. Yes, you did. See? The cross down happened here. So that turned the game off. So we're waiting for a weekly signal on the MACD, and I'll show you an example of when it did work. So bear with me a second. I'll go back and find it. So if we go back, let's use the 2017 bull market as an example. Oh, we can't because there's not enough information. 1 second. Let me get another chart. Let's try the Bitstamp chart, because that's got a lot of history. And then we'll turn the MACD on. We'll turn log off, logarithmic off. So MACD. And let's go hunting for these signals. So we're on the weekly chart. Okay, that's a down signal. So that's no. There's an up signal. Yes. So up on the weekly. It happened between these dates here, or these weeks rather. Like that. So on the weekly, you go down to the daily to nail the entry. We'll have to scroll back in time to get that. Where did we draw it? Somewhere back here. Here we are. Okay. Delete that. That was where the weekly MACD crossed upwards. And we're waiting for a daily cross up after that. So here we go. There's one there. Now the MACD on the daily here is a little hard to get a read on, but did it ever cross back down on the weekly, the MACD, from that point in 2017? Not sure that it did, but let's check. No, it didn't. It was good. It was green. The light stayed green until here. So the light went red right there. But then it turned on again here. So you can see it. If I go full screen, you'll be able to see it better. So it turned off. Let me change. Get rid of these squiggles. You can see it turned off here and then it turned back on here. So off. It's hard to draw when the blocks are like, so that's where it went off and this is where it went on. So it was kind of like a false signal. You know, that indicates that the market's off, like, so don't take positions, and then this signals that the market's on, so you can take positions. So if we go back to the daily, and I go back to the full chart here, scroll back, okay, so this is where it was off and on again on the daily, because I mean there was a lot of volatility, like climbing up here. There was a lot of action, so it was enough to turn the weekly MACD off, but it came back on again. So where's our daily signal? Our daily buy signal somewhere through here. So basically here. So if you bought there, you can hold it until the weekly closes, like till the weekly turns the chart off again. So in that case, it would have been over here, which is actually after the all-time high at the time. It was during the violent sell-off. So that's essentially the strategy. I'll find the video because it's going to explain it in much better terminology than I did. So 1 second, I'll grab that for you. I'll put it in the chat. It's called like Financial Wisdom or something. Channel. I'll find it for you. 1 second. Bitcoin, where is it? I found it.
This time.
All right. I'll link this in the chat. That's the video there. And I'll show you what the video looks like. It's by this Financial Wisdom channel. And he just goes through and explains the MACD and the reasoning behind entry and exits. And he shows the results of the moves. So check it out. Yeah, it's worth a go. It's worth a look. He's pretty smart dude. So how are we doing with Bitcoin at the moment? Let's go back to the 15-minute chart. And all the videos on his channel are very interesting, good for learning. No worries. So other than that, there's a good channel that compares strategies as well. And it tests how successful they are over time. I think over 100 trades. Let me just let me find what that site is. I think it might be Trade Pro.
Welcome to Trade Pro. In this,
So there's another link for you to check out. It's the channel for Trade Pro. He basically backtests different scalping and trading strategies, and he lets you know which ones are the best, like which are the most profitable. So yeah, check it out. All right, so it looks like we're approaching the 20K. We have seen a bit of a touch below. Go to the 1 minute. It just happened now. Getting the retest of 20K right now. So I go to the 1 day, or the 1 minute rather. That was Bitstamp. So this is Binance. We're approaching that $20,000 level again. You'll sort of see how it behaves around this level. Like you'll see some pretty quick buying, like some violent moves up. Just like back here. Dipped below 20, violent up, violent move up, up. You get the drill. So I feel like that's what's going to keep happening. We'll see if we can even get below 20 again in this area. But yeah, there's 100% Aaron. Strong support at 20. I think the actual like order book will show where, well, at least at that moment in time, where the bulk of the orders live. Let's see if we can find that. Crypto, Binance, markets. We'll go BTC. This is actually BTC BUSD, but we want the USDT tether because I think that trades higher volume. So I'm just going to break this down a little further to show where the walls are. So there's obviously the 20K wall, $2.7 million sitting there. There's $2.8 million sitting at 19,900. So yeah, a hefty amount of support still. If you click on the little green part of the order book here, it shows you the entire buy side. 19,900, 19,800. You can see the intervals every 100. So 900. Well, sorry, every 1,000. Yeah, all these big round numbers have the buys, which is what you expect. Let me just break it down even to a different scale here. So you basically choose how you want to see the order book in grouping the prices in 50s or 100s or 10s or 1s, so on and so forth. So it's like changing the resolution. So to sort of, zoom out a bit, you select. I think 50 is a nice, comfortable way to view it. Every $50 interval. You can see there's $8 million sitting at 18,000, and then $9 million sitting at 16,000 at the moment. So there's a fair amount of money to support price. I'm not sure that there's much on the sell side. Yeah, quite thin on the sell side. So you can see that the demand is starting to show up. Demand for Bitcoin, like sub 20K, is quite evident, but supply is running out. Like it's, people don't really want to pay for it much above 20. They'd prefer to buy it below. Given the current price being so close to 20, that's what's going to happen. If you go to back to 100 intervals, yeah, it seems like it's kind of bottom heavy at the moment. There's more support going on than resistance, which is a good thing if you're a bull. Like that's a good sign. So yeah, you can see here at every $100 interval, quite a lot of ordering exists at this range here. This from 19,800 upwards. There's a bit of a hole until you get to 19, and then a huge hole that drops it down to 18. But look at that, someone put up 6 million, 6.5 million all at once at 18.5. So yeah, the order book, I don't know, a lot of it's just bluffing. So they'll put up an order and then pull it down straight away just to bluff people. But yeah, not all of it's for bluffing. Some of it's legitimate, like it's sitting there waiting to get filled. So yeah, but it's not a perfect sort of way to see what's happening, but it's just a starting point. Like it's just a way to get an idea, a ballpark idea of what might be on the cards. So here we are, we're getting buying happening again. So the buyers don't want to wait for it to drop below 20. they feel like they're going to miss out, so they're paying for it here. That's all right. I mean, it's pretty damn close to 20. You're not going to get much difference percent-wise. What is this? Like a 0.3%, 0.4% difference in price. So yeah, you're basically scratching for just fractions of a percent in that aspect. So all right, we've been streaming for just under 57 minutes. Remember to smash the like button if you haven't already. I'd greatly appreciate that. Let's check also. Now, I think we got to pay some attention to Ethereum as well, because some action's been happening there recently. So we're still on this Fibonacci level, this 786, trying to establish support at it. It punched below it, but came back up on top of it. We're gonna see if we can like use it as support, but I feel like as soon as Bitcoin is displaying weakness, you know, it's come back down toward 20. You get a bit of that weakness reflected and showing in Ethereum as well. So Ethereum hasn't held up as good in this bear market so far. It's sold off well below its previous all-time high, and it's still down there. It's still down below that previous all-time high of 1440. Just gonna get rid of this Fibonacci retracement. So there is a chance that that Ethereum could bleed further down and perhaps get back into this accumulation range at some point, which, you know, price is below $500. But, you know, don't count on it. I'm just saying it's a possibility, and it might take some time to get there too. So it's not going to happen anytime soon, but it, you know, once again, it depends on Bitcoin. Depends if Bitcoin holds 20. I think if we see those drops that we were suggesting earlier, down to like $10,000, then yeah, sure, you'll see Ethereum comes, you know, to meet that. It'll come down sub 500, I think. And then, you know, Doge as well will also probably go under 5 cents. I mean, it's all great news for accumulation. Just remember that. We're not expecting a bull market anytime soon, put it that way. So, you know, may as well get it cheap. May as well expect the prices to go cheaper while we're here in a bear market, you know. If it goes chop sideways, then so be it. But yeah, cheap is better. We want things to go down. We want them to stay down for some time, so we've got time to accumulate. So that's the name of the game. You gotta trade like a whale. Think like, you know, what the manipulators are trying to do to the market right now. They're trying to hold it down for more buying. So that's what we should be doing. We should be accumulating when they accumulate and selling when they sell, or when they distribute. And that's the long game. That's like the long-term swing trade game. But yeah, like as far as short-term speculation on where price is going to go, you know, people speculate 14K, 10K. Some people say we're going to stay at 20. Others say we're going to start moving up by the end of the year, that we're going to start going back into a bull market. It's anyone's guess, really. Like, we don't know until it actually happens. So the point is, prepare for any outcome. Prepare for each possible outcome, and then we'll be sweet. And then nothing will shock us and catch us with our pants down. So yeah, I feel like this is just going to be the way it goes for the foreseeable future, until some kind of catalyst or some huge break of resistance or support gets actioned. All right, guys. Well, I'm kind of out of juice. I'm out of energy, so it's been an hour-long stream, so I think that's good enough to cover off what's been happening lately with the market and with Bitcoin. So I'll wrap it up here, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks for tuning in, and happy trading. Happy accumulating. Thank you. See ya.